Welcome to another episode of Stories That Connect, the influence of brand storytelling. I am your host, Nicole Levell, and owner of Elocin Marketing, where we specialize in branding, digital strategy, community building, and especially empowering our female entrepreneurs to tell their brand stories and to grow their business. We are here today to dive deep into the intersection of creativity and advocacy with our special guest, Jada Capri. Jada is a talented performer. It includes dance, acting, and music, and she is very passionate about advocacy when it comes to social justice. She uses her platform to blend the arts and activism and really likes to demonstrate how social media can be a powerful tool for creative expression and driving social change. Let's welcome Miss Jada.
Hi. Thank you so much for having me.
Yes, I'm so excited about what we're going to do here today. I'm really excited because we're really going to get to explore how some things that I talked about earlier, but really dive deep into like things like how our social media can serve as our resume, really how we can be more authentic with our storytelling, and how we can effectively market ourselves as a multifaceted professional. I am so excited to hear your unique perspective and get all your valuable insights and really just understand your brand stories. Yes, welcome, girl.
Thank you.
All right. I just want the literally, guys, if you were to hear to see Jada, she is like lighting up the Zoom. Up the Zoom. It makes sense that you would care about advocacy. You look like one of those people where you just probably walk up and hug strangers.
That's so sweet.
You definitely have that look. So we're going to learn a lot. Definitely, if you are an entrepreneur, if you're thinking about starting a business, I think that this particular topic that we're going to talk about today on our podcast could really help you think about your business in a different way, in a unique way. I know we talk a lot about humanizing our brand on this podcast, how to be different. And I think, Jada, you merging two things that are usually in two separate buckets, but you merging them because these are your passion points. You really honed in on your passion points and made it into your own business. So I'm just so excited to dive in. So tell everybody just a little about yourself, some of your background. What do we need to know? Who is Jada? Let us let's spill the tea about yourself.
I'm Jada Capri, as you said. I'm a professional performer. I dance, I act, I sing, I model. And then my other side of myself is advocacy. So social justice in all forms, like my 4 big pillars are like housing, healthcare, education, criminal justice reform, like anything dealing with advocacy, like in equity. Yes. That is what I strive to promote and help in any way that I can.
Awesome. And I know they might not be able to hear it in your voice, but how young are you? Please tell our listeners so they can see all this knowledge is being dropped. And you're a part of this amazing group of young people. So do you mind sharing? Or are you
yes,
you can give a range. Are you in the range of what?
I'm 27.
Oh my God.
And that even now still I'm just like, oh, okay, we're really in our 20s. Once you pass up to like 25, okay, that's cute. And now I'm just like, oh, late 20s. Okay. All right. But
you look fabulous and you don't look a day over 22. Okay. So that's amazing. So yes. So let's talk about how did you get to where you are now? You're 27 years old. You have these strong personal brand pillars, right? And I love how you just broke that down. Can you just walk us through a couple of steps of like why these things interest you and like maybe just cliff notes? How did you get to where you are today?
Yes. So I feel like both of my sides, my performing and creative side, artistry, and my advocacy side, that's just been who I am since from the time I can remember. Growing up, I always was in like dance classes or acting or choirs and things like that, literally from the time that I was super young all the way through. And then I know it sounds so corny, but I've always just wanted to help people. So trying to figure out and navigate, okay, how do I go about this? Because like I want to be able to do what I want to do for forever, but strategically, financially, it's like, how do I do that? So when I got to school, I actually double majored in music and politics. Music because that I just love it. And then politics because wanting to help people, I figured, okay, this is probably the best way to do it. So I've double majored in music and politics. And from there, I've just been trying to figure out, okay, how do I turn both of these into a career? And one thing that I'll say about double majoring in that, so many people, they would be like, why would you do that? One has nothing to do with the other. It doesn't make sense. You should major in what you can find a job in and just like minor in your passion. But for me, I was like, no, I want to learn about music. I want to learn about politics, the history of it. So why not? Yeah, so that's been my journey through school. And then after graduation, I started working for Congress for 4 years. So I was really able to understand advocacy and just the importance of being a part of your community and having a voice, but also in advocating for people. And then I couldn't let my passion for performing go. So I was like, okay, we're going to figure this out. What do we do? And from there, just started taking classes, traveling all over, trying to get connected with whoever I possibly could. And since then, I've been able to book 2 commercials this year so far. Recently, like a music video. So I did a live performance last year with a Grammy nominated artist. So it's a lot to juggle both, but I feel like I'm doing it. And yeah, I just love both sides of it.
Awesome. Oh my gosh. Just hearing that, I can understand. So, our topic today, we're going to be talking about social media. So, we're going to get into, I'm sure you are using social media on the daily because you don't get to where you are by not having a personal brand. You hinted towards this with these two different fields. How are they intersecting with your personal life? I heard a little bit, you had a little resistance, kind of like some questions, but how is that intersected with your personal life, or is it just all one? This is me.
I feel like it's just all one. And people, like, I've always heard people say, oh, I have a calling, or I feel like I have to do, or I can't let it go. And like that I never fully grasped that. But over time, it's like when you just have it, like you can't stop. It's like no matter what, you feel like, no, I have to do this, or I have to go after this, or like I see myself doing this. It's like when it just doesn't stop, that's truly what a calling is. And for me, it's both sides. Like, and it makes sense to me also because we see so many celebrities who then get their platform and then start speaking out about different issues that they're passionate about, community service, wanting to help others. But for me, seeing that sometimes it's just a rhetoric around it of, oh no, stick to what you do. You don't need to get involved in things like that. And I just feel like as humans, as citizens, like we're supposed to be involved in our community and helping and trying to make a difference. So I wanted to become educated in it. So when I get to that platform, no one can say, oh, who is she? Why is she speaking on different things? No, I've been doing this and I understand how it works.
Awesome. You wanted to have all the background and all your receipts, as they say. My receipts. I know what I'm doing. I did not learn on YouTube. Thank you very much. Okay.
There's nothing wrong with that. Just wanted to be established in both sides. So
I love it. I love it. So with social media specifically, I just have a feeling that you have used social media to really build your career, right? Yes. What role has social media really played in both like your art side and your advocacy side? And I just want us to like just talk about that for a minute because they're so polarized. And a lot of people probably think, oh, she probably doesn't even use social media for the advocacy side. But I would love to know like what role. Yeah, tell. Yeah.
So I'll start with how to set yourself up like career-wise with social media and then go into then how you're able to just be your own brand and kind of market it that way. So one, like social media, I don't think people really recognize that LinkedIn is such a powerful social media tool. Applying for jobs, yes. Like applying for jobs, like I know when I was applying for my current job and just other jobs similar to it, I would apply for something and then I would get the alert that, oh, someone from the company or something viewed my LinkedIn profile. So companies are using it. It's not a thing of just, oh, we see your resume, that's it. No, they want to get to know you before even calling you for an interest meeting, interview, anything like that. So it's so important just in terms of putting yourself out there so people can understand who you are, just having like a visual resume. So that's that side. But then as far as Instagram, I use it, like you have to use Instagram for performing. And then I'm able to incorporate like different issues that are going on at the time in society and just speak about that and showcase that as well.
Oh my gosh. So I'm just sitting here just amazed and saying thank you for really shouting out the power of LinkedIn. Because when people think about social media, we instantly go to Instagram, we instantly start thinking about TikTok, and we start thinking about these platforms that are amazing. And we'll definitely dive into them. They're amazing for visibility, for reach, for people to purchase things from you and different things like that. But LinkedIn to me has a very unique place, and a lot of people, I think, maybe haven't been to the platform, maybe ever, or like in years. It is not the same platform that it was 15, 20 years ago. It's definitely, I love how you put that. It's a visual resume for people. And it's a way for people, I feel like for small, like a brands, you're a small business, you're an entrepreneur, you're a mompreneur, solopreneur, whatever preneur that you are calling yourself, you have to be on LinkedIn so you can showcase whatever it is that your brand is offering, just like any other business. Could you imagine Coca-Cola not having a LinkedIn? So I feel like for those entrepreneurs that are listening, go on LinkedIn and look at who's actually on there. And look at the representation. And most importantly, look at how brands are really showing up with their personality. It's not just about this is where I work, this is the date and the time. But people, I have been noticing people repurposing their reels on LinkedIn so you can see more of their personality. And of course, they're being careful. Like, these are not cat videos. No, this is you speaking at an event or motivating your group or whatever you're doing with your business. But do you find that more companies are maybe paying attention more to those people who are active on the platform and showing more of their personality? Like, how important do you think it is to like really have personality on LinkedIn?
And I would say, even for myself, like, I can be so much better because people that I've seen now, it's like, it's a feed. So it's basically like a professional, like, I don't have Facebook, but it's like a professional Facebook where people are just like constantly updating their status, letting you know what they just did, who they just were with. If they're at an event, they're taking pictures and things like that. And I don't utilize it to that degree as much as I should, but it really is powerful because people can interact with what you're posting. They can repost it and then comment under it. And I've seen so many viral posts from LinkedIn, and it's all about workplace professionalism or being overworked and things like that. And so people are having like those conversations there. So it's definitely important to be active.
I agree. And you're absolutely right. And another thing that I think a lot of people don't realize is that there's a lot of education that goes on LinkedIn. So if you are a coach or some kind of instructor, or even if you decided, hey, from like the performing arts side, I want to start teaching people how to dance or these different things, people are going to LinkedIn just as much as they're going to YouTube, right? Just to learn new things. And so I agree with you. You're leaving stuff on the table but not showing up in this platform that people have earmarked as boring or only for corporate people.
Yeah. And that's just not the case.
Yeah. And so that's why I was just thrilled to just hear you mention that first. Hey, this is what I use for the advocacy side. So with your content from the advocacy side, what type of content are you normally sharing on LinkedIn? I already heard you say, I got to get a little bit better, but are you sharing a mixture of like videos or different reports? What are you doing from an advocacy standpoint on LinkedIn?
So not so much on LinkedIn. I think I incorporate Instagram a lot more when it comes to that. For me personally, I really use, and again, as we just explained, it's very powerful to be able to showcase and update and things like that and stay up to date. But for me, I think I really use it more so on the networking side of things.
Got it.
So, and that's the thing, I don't think that people realize you literally have people at your fingertips. And it's just so mind blowing to think, if you thought about a particular company, it could literally, how you use Coca-Cola. Google who Coca-Cola's people are. Google if they have an office in your area. If you have a dream of working for Coca-Cola, either or marketing or like whatever, it's so many different offices. Google the people. It sounds a little creepy, but they will come up, and then you can find their profile on LinkedIn and you can send them a message. You can say, hey, introduce yourself, just ask, oh, can we just have a quick virtual meeting? Like, I would love to introduce myself in person or virtually. And that goes so far. And I've done that. And I don't think that people realize that, no, you can literally like connect with so many different people.
You can. You can. And what's really powerful about it is that just like any other platform, they promote like if you post something, they're going to put it in front of people. Literally today, I got a phone call. I had not talked to this particular young lady. We used to work together. Probably haven't talked to her in 2 years, literally 2 years. And she saw one of my posts on LinkedIn. And she just, you know what, instead of, she was like, I'm going to post, but let me give her a call. Let me call Nicole. And it was so random. And she told me, she was like, I called you because I saw you on LinkedIn. What?
Literally, yes.
Tirelessly on Instagram and Facebook and TikTok, and LinkedIn has become like a huge thing for me now. And I have made more connections in the past few months on LinkedIn than like any other platform. So it's just like you said, it's really one-to-one. Now, Instagram, don't get me wrong, it's amazing for visibility. We have all the communities that you can now build. I know you said that you're not on Facebook, but do you use any of the community building aspects of Instagram, like having your own group, anything like that? How are you using Instagram just for growth?
Yes. Oops, sorry, something just fell. But overall, yes, because it's easy to make groups with like people that you either follow or people that you want to connect with and say, hey, I have this going on, or are you interested in this? I've actually, most of my dance concept videos, that was how I was able to connect with people, whether I met them in person one day or they were like a mutual of someone that I know, and then they would put together a group chat basically saying, hey, I have a project coming up. I would love if you all can participate. Please this or let me know. So as far as like community building, like you can definitely use Instagram for that.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So now I want to shift the conversation because I feel like with you have these two kind of polarizing things, but you have found a way to make them work in your life. And telling your story has to be a huge part of that. When it comes to storytelling, what are some of your key strategies? How do you think through like how you're going to tell your story, the type of brand stories you're going to tell? That storytelling aspect, is that a huge part of your strategy? And if so, like how do you implement on that, especially with the two different sides?
I feel like this is probably going to sound so basic, but literally just being yourself. It's like when you are yourself and you're posting about who you are, what you like to do, and then you're finding a way to make that professional in a sense of just, okay, if I like to dance, I'm going to make a bunch of different types of dance videos. I'm like, okay, what are the songs going to be like? Make your own music video for yourself per se, and be able to showcase that different current events that are coming up. If you have an opinion on something, I was about to say tweet about it. All the different platforms, yeah.
They totally messed us up. We got an X about it. No, like an X. Okay, go ahead. Yeah.
Yeah, like post about it. Give your opinion. And I'm not going to say that there's no wrong opinions, but you can start a conversation about it, just to say, hey, this is what's going on. Some topics aren't going to reach everybody, but some of them are still so important. I know our generation, we're not the biggest news watchers. It's social media is how we get our news. And so you can use that to your advantage. Okay, these things are going on. Let me just share the information for it. And again, we know social media and just secondary sources, you got to pick and choose and filter what is valid and what isn't. But if you are passionate about something, why not share it? It's like people then can come to you, and if you don't have all the answers, then y'all can build on it together. But again, the building community part. So yeah, literally just being yourself.
I love that.
Is just the best thing. It's like it's going to show through anyway. So
that's awesome. Yeah. So that just the message for any brand person, any person that is building a brand, if it's a personal brand or if it's a brand where you have your services or whatever, being yourself on social media is how you attract that right audiences for you. And another thing, you said something that was like super key, and I just can't.
It'll come back to you.
Yeah, it's going to definitely come back to me. Thank you. It's like, it'll come back. Yes, it will come back. But seriously, the storytelling part, you said something about being yourself. And clearly I haven't had enough coffee yet. We're going to bring it back.
So but that's just the basis of it. Being yourself, and then in showcasing. So we all have the quickest attention spans. So showcasing who you are at the very top of your page is so important. Like people say, they're not going to scroll down really past like the first 9, maybe 12 boxes. So just constantly updating to say, okay, these are the things that I'm doing. These are the things that I'm interested in. Pinning your most important posts and things that you want people to know about you at the top. You can pin 3 different things as people can say, oh, okay, so you do this, you like, okay, cool. And just understand who you are, taking advantage of the highlights on your Instagram and promoting them perfectly, like all of that. It's just showcasing who you are in a fast, efficient way. So in addition to making sure that your Instagram profile page is up to date and with the most current information about who you are, like I was saying, the first 9 to 12 squares is basically what catches people's attention, and just the importance of your highlights being in order and together to showcase who you are. Going live on Instagram is so important. So whether it's with a person like in the field that you're in, or even if you're having conversations with your friends, and but it's geared towards talking about your brand, that's one of the best ways to be relatable, because people can like react in real time. You can answer their questions in real time, and it also brings like your personality to the page as opposed to just a picture or just a video. It's like you're interacting. So
I love that. So it finally came back to me. You're right. It was going to come back to me as soon as you started. Talking. So you brought up something really interesting. We were talking about being yourself, talking about these issues that people might not necessarily like to hear. They don't want to hear. But one thing that I heard from that was the truest way to be authentic is to be okay with hurting some feelings, right? You have to push the boundaries on these certain topics. And I love that you're like confident enough in what you believe in and what you know to say, hey, this is going on in the world and I want to speak to it. And we know that, especially Instagram and some of these other places, it can be a scary place. You're worried about what are they going to say in the comments? Do I need to turn off the comments? Do I need to turn off my likes? What are they going to say? Am I going to end up on somebody else's page because 40,000 people are talking about me? But at the end of the day, when you speak up for your brand and for what you believe in, and like you said, share your opinion, like how you feel, you're not falling in line with everybody else. You are going to attract that right person that is for you, and that is for your brand. And I was listening to someone on Instagram the other day, and she said it was okay to speak exactly your exact thoughts. It's okay to be loud about it. And you're going to attract the right person, but she said you're going to repel those people that don't even need to be on your page. And they'll start unfollowing you if they don't want to hear. So I love that you're saying that in connection with brand storytelling, because it's okay to be loud and be different and say, hey, I have this opinion about that. I just love to hear you say that. So that's what I wanted to say earlier. I thought you were just like spot on. Like, I'm going to get on there. I'm going to talk about my issues, or whatever this issue is. And so I think maybe go ahead. Yeah. Go ahead.
No, when you were saying that, it just made me think. I think also like the fear of, oh, what are people going to say? Are they going to agree? Things like that. If you're just being a good human being and you're only just saying, yes, it's not right to do such and such. Like, we should all be supportive of people and bringing different issues to light, and then saying, hey, this is how these group of people feel and this is what they're experiencing. As long as you're coming from it from like a good mental place and like your heart is in the right place, it's not really going to be a thing of, oh, that doesn't make sense, or what are you talking about? Because you're literally just saying, be a nice person, basically. Okay. So you're going to get those. And I've had some where it's just like, you can tell that they just don't really have much going on, because it's like taking the time to comment certain things, but it's okay, that's your opinion. But the fact of the matter is, this is what's happening. Yeah, just come from a good place, and then you won't have to worry about negativity from it, because more than likely, like, the people that are for you, they're not going to say anything negative in that way.
Right. What do you have to say for the people who are like, maybe they have the best intentions and they're just speaking their opinions, and people are still coming for them in the comments? What do you have to say to other brands? Should they keep going with that narrative, or do you think they should back down because of the comments?
Again, as long as you're coming from a good place, like your heart is in the right place, you shouldn't care about that, because the people that are going to be for your brand, they're going to be attracted to because you are being yourself and because you're being a decent human. So you really just have to like filter some things out. But then also, I don't want it to be a thing where it's like, oh, just ignore all the comments, like never pay attention. Sometimes you can actually be learning something from it. So if you have one opinion, but maybe somebody, it's not wrong, but it's just a varying opinion or trying to get you to see something in a different light, okay, now take the time to research it, educate yourself. Go as you're going through your journey of educating yourself, share that, put it on your story, things like that. So you don't have to, I think it's like a mindset thing. You don't have to take it necessarily negatively. If someone is just completely being outright rude and just hostile and hateful, okay, block them. But sometimes sparking dialogue, you can learn something from it.
I love that. And do you feel like, especially from your advocacy side, have you seen, just from you being honest and open and talking about these different issues, have you found that there's been more engagement and more people like having these conversations with you where you can learn from them and they're learning from you? Have you experienced that yourself?
Yes. So I think the biggest turning point was 2020. Yes. Yes. But yeah, I think the biggest turning point was 20, with everything that was going on, all the inequality, the injustice, people just saying enough is enough, and taking to social media and sparking just that huge outpour of a movement, basically. And I would have posts out protesting and different things, or it was a young woman who ended up being killed, and she was she was a Black woman, and she was advocating for our issues and things like that, and she ended up being killed in the process. And sharing that, just reposting anything from like people that I look up to, they have larger platforms and they're saying things, like reposting it and then giving my spiel on it. Yeah, I experienced like people who would come back and say, oh, you all are just being lazy, what are you complaining about? And it's okay, if you took the time to say that, you read what I'm saying, is you will see. And it's not just a complaint, it's voicing what's happening. I guess that is a complaint. It's not just you're just speaking out into nowhere, it's you're saying it from with a purpose. So if you don't take the time to absorb that, it's okay, move along. But then sometimes you'll see people be like, oh, I didn't even think about it like that, and then it just sparks conversation. So yeah, again, just being open to it, understanding, okay, people are going to say things, obviously it's a comment section, but what am I going to filter in for myself, and what am I going to let go?
Awesome. I love that. I love also, just for anybody who is like nervous about opening up more of themselves or showing more, like just being more authentic, showing more of their human side because they're afraid of what other people might say.
Yeah.
I love what you just said. It is a comment section. You are opening it up yourself for people to give their opinions.
Yeah.
So as a brand, think about most brands, if they were too afraid about what other people would think or what people would say on radio stations or different things like that, big brands would never grow because they will be playing it too safe. So if we want to operate like a big brand, if we want our brands to grow, if we want to make those connections, we have to get a little uncomfortable, be okay. We can't always play it safe. And the only way we're going to be different as a brand is to really let people know what that difference is.
Yeah.
I love that. I like how you're
getting comfortable with being uncomfortable. Oh my gosh, that's just like a recurring thing. It's like anybody, I can't even say just performer, entrepreneur. I feel like that's just like such a life lesson, and one that now in my late 20s, just right there in my face all the time. It's, even with me, I'm not perfect on social media in terms of just, I'm just going to say it all and it's going to be fun. No, I'm very much getting there. Different issues that I want to speak about in my own personal experiences, because you want to be authentic in yourself, but you're opening a can of worms for judgment and criticism, and nobody likes that. But again, it's just understanding, okay, is this helping me to grow? And even if it's bad, it can still help you to grow, to know what to pay attention to and what not to pay attention to. But I feel like some people are work in progresses when it comes to that. Definitely me, because we're still getting there.
Yeah, and we are still going to get there. I'm be honest. I was very open about this on another podcast. I am still working on how much of myself that I show.
Yes. Oh my gosh. It's such a fine line between wanting to just be yourself and be authentic, but then, okay, but I want to keep me for me.
Yeah, I can see that. It's definitely that fine line. Like I told somebody, I follow a lot of other brand coaches. We're doing the same thing. And I get it. There's certain things that are going to make you grow. And so there was one particular brand coach that I was following, and her and I offer very similar things, and we are supporting women and all these different things. But I saw that she was growing at a much faster rate than I am. She was also showing videos of her making lunches for her kids and dropping off and all the stuff. And I was like, I just don't know if I'm ready to show
All that
that.
out there.
Yeah, and I've done a couple tests and I have seen it's like babies and animals, like babies and puppies, so I should say babies and cats. As long as you're showing the cuteness, people are gonna love it. So it is tough. It's almost like you have to retrain your brain in a certain sense. Almost like what we were saying about LinkedIn, like retraining our brain as exactly what that platform is for. But
Yeah.
being confident is one thing, but then retraining your brain about being, I would say, it's even beyond authentic. It's being more open.
Yeah.
It's like allowing people in. And I don't know, it's a fine line. So I think it just depends on what you're comfortable with. Because people can tell. Also, I feel like when they think it's being forced.
Yes. Oh my gosh.
Tell that.
Yes, most definitely. And oh my gosh, I feel like same things happen to me now, thought leaving my head. The consistency of showing who you are, that's one of the things that I know is like a trend to like help you grow. It's like, as long as you're just posting something constantly, okay, a couple posts a week on your page and then daily if you can on your story. And so one of the things as far as like being authentic is you be the brand. You are the brand. So don't try to decide like, oh, what can I do and think too hard about it. No, who are you and what is your day to day? And so then it just comes down to, okay, what am I going to hold for myself? What am I going to share? If it's just every single morning, okay, I'm going to show that routine, but then that's all that I show of me for the day. Okay, just like having those boundaries for yourself to have that line. And then also taking mental health breaks too, because I think we get into this pattern of, oh my gosh, I have to do it constantly. I have to be on all the time. And then sometimes your body and your mind just, no, not right now. And you have to respect that so then you can recharge to do it.
I love that. I love that. That's definitely a matter of balancing that personal and professional and setting those boundaries. I know we use that term a lot. And so I'm embracing that term, setting boundaries. So I have to set the boundaries. I have to say, no, this is when I'm doing this, when I'm not doing this. I love this. We have to definitely set boundaries.
And that is so scary.
What'd you say?
I said it's so scary.
I know.
For me, it's like when you just want to, I don't know, you don't want any of the criticism. You don't want any of the bad anything. That comes with having thin boundaries and just letting people in. So it's that's a challenge for me. The boundary setting part. But it's so important.
Yes, I would say while you're young, practice it, because this is definitely something that I feel like with the setting the boundaries, it can affect so many different parts of your life, not just how you're showing up on social. This has been like really good conversation. Now, I just want to pick your brain since you do have like the advocacy side, and I know you're a creative. When it comes to that particular field, and a lot of people, I know we see different advocacy groups on Instagram, Facebook, whatever, but are you a part of a bigger organization, or are you like your own organization when it comes to advocacy, social justice?
I feel like I am now becoming my own business, my own brand, which I think that's just like career wise is so important for me now, reaching that turning point, because for me, I always thought that, for my advocacy, like political side, I have to have the 9-to-5 job, like whether it was then working for Congress, I'm with a lobbying firm now, and it's, I have to do that because that's how I'm going to feel fulfillment from my advocacy side. But long term, I want to, like, all these conferences that people have about just voting and like panels about equity and Black women and things like that. I can do that, and I want to get there. For me, it's like not being afraid to step out on my own and say, oh no, I am my own brand. Like, how do I market this? Like, even something like a podcast like this where you can speak about that. It's no, I don't have to have the crutches of being in a box of what society thinks, oh, that's your career, that's what it looks like. It's really navigating to be like, no, I like these different things. This is how I'm going to go about it. And then becoming your own brand. So I feel like I'm at the cusp of that now. And
I love it.
It is very scary, but it's so empowering because it's like, again, that calling where it doesn't let you rest. I feel like I'm definitely now getting more into that, where it's like I'm my own brand as opposed to my brand is attached to a company or something like that.
I love it. So it's like literally putting you in that public speaking role, like really becoming a face of who knows what issues you might be a face of. And we're actually seeing a lot of that in the world, we're seeing people that we might have grown up with. They were in a certain field. Oh, they're a rapper,
Exactly.
they're an actor, they're this, and these predefined roles that we put them in. But now we're seeing them step into media. We're seeing them be the
Exactly.
voice for the voiceless. We're seeing them run podcasts. Like, we're seeing these different
Exactly.
things. And it's because they decided to use that social media platform at first to, oh, I want to speak on this issue, I want to speak on that issue. So I love that you're following in some of these footsteps of people. Probably the person that I think of that has done this so flawlessly is Joe Button. I love him, and some of
Yeah.
my husband. But I've just been able to watch his journey, right?
Yeah.
And now we look at him so differently. Like, we don't even associate him with some of the
With
past.
like the other stuff.
Yeah.
To an extent.
Yes.
To an extent.
So do you think that from like the evolution of how people are using social media and just the evolution of how we are consuming news and how we are talking about different social issues, how do you see that maybe in the next 2 years, 5 years, 10 years? Do you feel like we're all just going to be in one hub consuming all these different things? Like, how do you see things going? And I know you don't have a crystal ball, but I want to know what your opinion is. What are your predictions?
We can see just from the past years, like politics, for example. It's like people, they didn't know what news media outlet to trust, because it's like depending on which side of the aisle you're on, your rhetoric is going to go towards that. And so if you're so polarized where it's like, nope, I only have this viewpoint, but it's maybe even the way it's being fed to you isn't correct, or I don't know, isn't factual. Sometimes you really have to be like, okay, where am I going to take this? What am I going to take from this? So people have turned literally to social media. And again, it's like a double-edged sword, because it's like, what is reliable, what is not, that sort of thing. Is that's when you have to do your own research and kind of figure it out. But like I said, the past few years we've seen that, where it is just rising and being that thing that brings people together and where they get their information from. And I feel like it's just going to continue. And I would say that even like on the performing side, it's social media. You cannot submit for a job where they don't ask for your Instagram. It's like your Instagram has to be so up to par. And if it's not, you can have everything else correct, but that Instagram isn't together, you will not get it. So it's such a driving force. Literally.
We should have got into that earlier. Okay.
Yes.
We're talking about, and I know that, see, those were those two different fields. A lot of people, they're sleeping on Instagram. And I think from an entrepreneur standpoint, we know how important this is, because it's a part of marketing. And if we're not on those channels, who's going to find out about us? That's how we get visible. But for the people who are going into these fields where you're maybe working for a company, interviewing for a company, very interesting. It's like nowadays, you need to be on social so they can visually see you,
see who you are.
Wow.
Yes. And I was like, that's like on both sides. Because like I said, places that I've applied to, then someone from their company, they're viewing my LinkedIn. And I'm like, oh, okay, like, all right, I see y'all are paying attention. And then on the performing side, people are saying like, oh, send over your pictures, send me your resume, and send me your Instagram. And it can just make or break.
Wow. That's amazing.
Yeah.
It's just so different. I guess especially with us, we have an age difference too.
Right.
I remember applying for jobs, and it was like the biggest thing was your actual physical resume that you used to have to fill out and make sure it looked good. And there were no spelling. I mean, there should never be spelling errors. Let's be clear, guys. All right, let's be clear. But you had to make sure everything was perfect. And you would print it out and physically have it with you and take it with you to these interviews. And it's like, now, for one, like from a resume standpoint, I just want to drop this knowledge. If you do not have at least at bare minimum, like your LinkedIn, okay, put a little icon, whatever you want, but make sure they know how to find you on LinkedIn. If it's a PDF, make sure that PDF is clickable. Okay. They need to make sure it's clickable so they can click to see you on LinkedIn. They can click
your LinkedIn information on the right. Oh, I haven't done that. Okay.
Well, okay. No, wait, no,
I haven't even done that. No, because okay, and just to backtrack, resumes are still very important. Like when I'm going to an audition, my headshot and resume have to have that, or if I'm submitting online, headshot and resume, applying for a job, resume. Some cover letters are
they're out. They're out
sometimes in, sometimes out. Yeah, but having a resume is very important, whether you're submitting it digitally, handing it in, yes. But it's just then people take that and it's, oh, okay, let me see who you really are. Because
Yeah.
we really show up for ourselves on social media.
Yeah.
So yeah, I just want to say, but I do not have my LinkedIn on my resume. I should go back and do that because they're searching me anyway.
They're searching and you're making it so much easier
Yeah.
and you're helping yourself stand out. So one thing that
Wow.
I've included on my resume, even if though I work for myself now, but when I was applying for corporate jobs or whatever, I put my picture on my resume.
That is smart. No, that is so smart.
There. It was a professional picture, of course, a perfect headshot, but I wanted them to see my personality and for my resume to stand out in a stack of resumes,
Yes.
or whatever, how many emails that they might have.
Right.
I always to make my PDF clickable so that they can go directly to my LinkedIn, they can go directly to my website, they can go directly to my Instagram, and those are usually the 3 that I put on there. I also make my email clickable, so if they want to email me from my resume, it'll pop right up into their Outlook. So I try to make sure. Yes. Now, and I promise you, I have definitely interviewed for things that no, I didn't get. But I will have to say this: 90% of the jobs that I apply to, I end up getting that role. Now, of course, the resume is it gets you into the door, and then of course you got to do the interview. Yes, but I would say that's where like social media is already there. People, they're not just going based on the black and white that's on that resume. They want to see you in color. They want to see you in color.
Literally.
So they're going to check you out.
You're going to beat yourself up real good on these on paper, but it's who are you?
Who are you? So I think this is a very interesting conversation. So Jada, I have thoroughly enjoyed our conversation. Just today, we've talked about so many different things, but I think the biggest thing, no matter what you're doing, you still have to tell a brand story. And so you are doing a great job with it.
Oh, thank you.
Yes, at such an incredible age, and I'm excited to see where you go. So I'm going to continue to follow your journey. So before we get off, tell people like how can they follow your journey? What's coming up next? You did tease like yes, this huge personal brand that you're about to drop, but where can we find you on Instagram, like LinkedIn, TikTok, wherever? Just let us know how can the people find you.
So my Instagram is Jada Capri, and I'll spell it. It's a little different. JADACAPRI. And then my LinkedIn is Jada Ward, just JADAWARD. So yeah, that's how you can find me.
Awesome. And what do you have coming up next that we can be looking out for, whether it's on your performance side or your advocacy side, anything that you can talk about that's not top secret?
Yes. So actually, I just found out today, actually, that I booked a music video for this weekend. Oh. So as far as performing, that is what the weekend is looking. And I guess being like this dual person, that's my life.
Okay.
Now it's like most weekends, it's, gotta go and then come back and be back for work and that sort of thing. But as far as my advocacy, just to continue speaking about issues that are coming up. The election is coming up in the fall. So it's a lot of topic, a lot of conversation around that, and just making sure that my generation is engaged and making sure that part doesn't die down. So
I love that. I love that. So you're going to keep on telling your brand story, your personal story, and we're going to follow it. We're going to follow it. And I can't wait till you reach out. Oh, yeah, I got that podcast. Finally got it going because people are going to want to hear what you have to say.
Oh, thank you.
Yes. I love to empower women, and I just have really, like I said, enjoy having this conversation with you. So guys, definitely continue to follow me as well.
Really quick. I was gonna say, because I know you're about to wrap up. I just want to thank you for providing the platform and for being who you are and being so engaging and just so inspirational and trying to grab the younger people behind you, because no, really, that's very inspiring to see. It's like you have created a phenomenal platform, and just the way that you're able to engage and bring those questions out, bring those stories out, like it's very inspirational. So thank you.
Oh my gosh.
Just want to make sure I got that in before you end it.
Oh my goodness. I'm gonna, okay. The mascara has to stay on. The mascara has to stay on. Thank you. Oh, I love it. Please definitely follow Jada. Definitely follow me at Elocin Marketing. So Elocin is Nicole spelled backwards. EOCIN, Elocin Marketing on all channels, whether that's LinkedIn, Instagram, YouTube, TikTok. and also my website, elocinmarketing.com. So I made it super easy for you guys to definitely make sure to follow up with me. And definitely on my website or any of my social channels, you can find out what's the latest is going on, or it could be an event, etc. If you are a fabulous female entrepreneur and you want to join the podcast as a guest, please reach out to me via Instagram. You can send me a DM or you can send me an email, info@elocinmarketing.com. All right. So I definitely want to hear from you guys. And Jada, just 1,000% thank you. Thank you so much for joining.
Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. You are an amazing guest. And I just cannot wait for everybody to just enjoy this podcast as much as we did. So
Yes.
All right.
So much fun.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks for tuning in. If you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to hit that subscribe button, like, and drop a comment. Stay tuned for our next episode. It's one you don't want to miss.